All right, let's talk about the DR formation setup. This is a setup that happens when the the DR IDR range is first getting formed. And if you remember your times, that starts around 9:30 Eastern time and it ends at, basically the end of the 1025 candle. And what we're looking for is we're looking for what is the pattern that's being formed by this range. And this goes into some of the context and narrative aspects of data flow, which I'm not going to go into in detail. Suffice it to say, what I'm really interested to know is, will the DR range form above this zone here, through the zone there, or below the zone? Okay, so this, if I have data that tells me the probability of it coming down here, as an example, what do you think I'm going to be looking for? I'm going to be looking for a short, right? But I'm going to be looking probably for a short a little bit earlier because it has a long way to traverse before it hits this 9:30 period. At this point, I don't think we're coming down here, right? We're really close. It's 9:15. We only have 2 bars to get all the way down to here, and that's very unlikely. There's a possibility that this could happen, right? Where we come down here and then we just keep coming down while we're forming this opening range. So that is a possibility that's on the table. And then there's this possibility where we really just kind of stay above here and then we're just taking off, for the day. Maybe we do something like this, and off we go up for the rest of the day. These are really great scenarios because often what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a scenario where we have something like this. I can get in around the bottom of this range that's being formed, right? If I can kind of find the right entry around here, then you have the biggest move of the day that's happening. You're traversing the entire range. Maybe you have a time and price trade that keeps on going all the way up to your mode median. So these can be potentially really big trades that happen, which is why they can be so effective. They're also really tricky to find the entries in. This is part of like the added discretion part of these DR formation trades is you're looking for levels that will hold, or trusting your data enough to know that I'm going in this direction. Where do I look for an entry? Okay, and that could be part of the more tricky part of this particular setup. In this case, for this particular day, and again, we have a very good 2-minute lower time frame approach. It's an execution approach that we use. And so a lot of times what's happening is we're looking for key levels and we're keying off those key levels and looking for our 2-minute entry. And so if we get a 2-minute entry, then we're good to go. And key levels could be, this does lead into some, support and resistance at times. If we don't have another one of our levels that are related to DR IDR, a data-oriented level, maybe we have a support and resistance level. So something from here, to here, as an example, this might be an important level if we come back down into this. And so if there's a 2-minute entry somewhere around here, or, some sort of rejection that happens, it might be worth trying a 1R, right? You're willing to risk a 1R loss to get something like a 6, 7, 8, 9R trade. Okay. So in this case, we kind of come down here, we come down here. Now the DR range is forming an opening. And so the question is was there a trade down here? What did we see? We come back down here, test it again. Let's say that we kind of saw something right down here. I actually know that we did. We had a 2-minute entry here. Again, I'm not going to go into that, but let's say that you just took the edge of this right here. You came down here, this rejected. You look for maybe another entry. We're going to do this right here. We're assuming that we're kind of it's in, right? The low is in, and this is one where we're probably just going to wait until we have more information for our exit, unless we have some other key levels up here. Okay. Now let's pause for a minute. Why am I looking long? Why was I looking long? Well, the tool we have, the transition tool we have, the same one that I showed that's part of, gives us directionality for a pre-confirmed trade, also gives us an idea of what the dominant pattern is going to look like. And so when I went into this tool, and I can go in at any point, I can go into this tool anywhere after, roughly 9 o'clock, and I can look and see what the dominant pattern is. Usually at 7:30, I'm looking at it. It might change. So with new information, it might change, but usually between 7:30 and 9, I'm looking at this data, and this is what it showed. It showed that our highest probability, 50%, more than twice the next one, right? We talked about this one, is what's called a UXP. And a UXP model is this one that I showed, which is where we are fully above the prior ODR range. Okay, so I knew that this model had the highest probability of forming, and then it's a matter of, okay, where do I get in? And the trade is over, the model fails if we close into here. And I know that, but until then, I'm looking to go long. Okay, so that was the key to this particular trade, is knowing and having a high probability that we're going to form this pattern that actually goes up. This is exactly what the data said for this particular day. So now we're kind of up, we come all the way down. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, we confirm. I'm already at 7R, maybe I might turn on my my indicator. We'll go for mode. That's 11R trade. Maybe we'll get there. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Oh, we're so close. We didn't quite get there. Bummer. Of course, you're probably trailing. So if you're trailing at this point, I'm definitely trailing if I'm above 7R. So you might leave with maybe 9R, maybe you're way down here. That's 8R. Not a bad day at all to be trading this particular approach. So in any case, anywhere between 7, 8, 9R on a trade where you have high probability, you kind of know the direction that we're headed, what this thing is going to look like from a formation period, and you're off and running. So you're just using the data to look for, again, the highest probabilities and then finding those locations to enter.